What is going on, guys? Hopefully, Sheets will be joining me in just a minute. Gonna say real quick, please hit the like button so we can keep doing these for free. Happy Friday. Hope you're all having a good day. We'll talk through the slate. There's going to be a lot of stuff to look out for. The biggest one that I can tell is Şengün. I like Şengün. I also really like Fred VanVleet. And if Şengün is out, I think Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, all the starters and who's ever starting in his place, whether that be Lawndale, Tari Eason may get a little more minutes tonight. So that's a big one to look out for. And there's always the stuff to look out for that we don't know that we're looking out for. Namely, at least we have we're told Anthony Davis is probable now, so that's nice. That was the other one that was a big one early in the day. Anyway, so getting to the plays and the chalk versus not chalk and all that stuff. For those of you who are premium members, I did just release I just uploaded in the premium Discord my current exposures of every player. It is subject to a lot of change. I want to see what happens with some of the starting lineups. It's a big deal. And Utah and Memphis is a game I have my eye on. Let me grab one thing real quick. Utah and Memphis, but I think it could become really interesting if Zaire Williams and or John Contra are out. That sounds like a weird couple of guys to say, but that's a lot of minutes. And I think Aldama, who's already, I think, an interesting pivot off of Biyombo, becomes a really strong play. So those two underlying things, those are the things we're waiting for. The Memphis situation and obviously the Şengün situation. Those are the main ones. Of course, things can always happen. Starting lineups can change, all that stuff. If for some reason Nick Richards started tonight, for Charlotte, then obviously that position would change. But we think they're gonna do the same thing. Anyway, so getting back to it, I like the Charlotte-Washington game. I think that I've minimalized my full stacking, but I have like some 4 and 5 mans. Mostly they're like 3 mans, things like that. I think that Kuzma is a priority play, but I also see a pivot to Jordan Poole as being viable. I think we can play them together, especially on FanDuel. But those are some priority ones for me. I'm looking at my current exposures while Sheets comes in here. Sheets just popped in. What's up, man?
Hey, what's happening?
Just going through my stuff. Oddly enough, I'm going to probably change this, but Dennis Smith Jr. is my 3rd highest owned player at the moment.
I just ran the projections, so I haven't even looked.
There's nothing about it that stand out. He's not going to be 0.5% owned.
All right.
I don't know if I'm going to leave it like that, but as of right now, I'm considering it.
All right. Yeah, I have 0.45% owned on him.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Is there any news that's come up in the last 5 minutes?
Nope. Honestly,
wow.
Not that I'm aware of.
Wow, sick.
No. So I think that this is we're gonna get some questions, and I'm glad you guys fire them in. We'll get to them. But Sheets, what sort of have you come up with so far, or should I start with what I've come up with?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really see value on DraftKings being that great. If you want to know the truth, again, Bismack Biyombo is projecting just kind of okay. I don't know if on slates like this where I really don't see too much value. I'm probably going some kind of middling build. I don't know if I'll be able to get to Embiid and Luka and stuff like that. That's my initial thing. I didn't really build anything yet.
So my thinking behind the Luka, the Embiid thing. Really painful moment. A good friend of mine's parent passed away yesterday, and just got a message, right? Just sort of alarming. Really, really tough time. Anyway, back to what did you say, Sheets, last?
I was just saying that it's that the value doesn't look that great, so it's probably a middling type build for me, and I don't know if I can get to any of these top guys. I didn't really actually try to build yet, but that's my instinct. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that as an overall assessment right now. I think that I started off with what we were waiting for, and I think the Şengün news, which I think is legit questionable, is really important. One, if Lawndale starts, he's going to not only look like a great play, but all of a sudden it's going to change the construction of the slate, because he's going to be starting at 3,400 at center. and people will pivot to that. So my idea is like I like the Charlotte Washington game. I like specifically getting two pieces of it on at least one piece on either side in most of my builds. In the builds I'm using it, or getting like three pieces from the game. But the truth is, Washington plays a ton of guys, and there's still some news that it's to come. So like if we don't have the Şengün news, and if we don't know, I know it sounds crazy, but about Zaire Williams and John Concher, that game in Memphis, because of everybody else, just gets bumped up. Because that's like 40, it's like 58 minutes to go with a team that's already playing like somewhat shorthanded with Aldama just coming back. So he might look like a really good play, which I already think he's a really good play. So there is some potential value to open up, later in the day, as usual. So with that said, I agree with the more middling build, but even in the middling build, you still have to use some, look, I like Keontae George today. I like him in general. The logic would be that he would just keep going, but they have a million point guards. There's plenty of fail paths for a guy who's going to be that high owned. So I'm going out of my way to be below the field. Same with Kevin Huerter. I'd like to be below the field. I would rather play Malik Monk at lower ownership. I would rather play Daniel Gafford than Bismack Biyombo, and I'd rather play Aldama. Now, I have more Biyombo than Aldama, but I like the theory of playing more Aldama and Biyombo, and I would probably not play them together. Because also without Kessler, Utah can play Collins at the 5, and then you sort of can play your 5-man small lineup on the other side. So I like just those little bits of things that you can get different with, and then the major ones that I love guys who no one's really talking about. I just think that we're Anthony Edwards at 5% ownership. This feels, look, he's put up 53 games in a row. It's the nut matchup. It also feels like a great Kyle Henderson revenge game, who's going to have the one who does have ownership. But I like the Minnesota side of this. Even if they dominate the game, I just feel like it's so hard not to score on San Antonio that they're going to find a way. And I have Wembanyama in like one big lineup, but I think it's a mistake, and I'm probably going to change it because I think going up, it's like Rudy Gobert is his mentor, and the fact that they'll be matched up at certain points of the game, even it just is not like it's like a dad-son thing. It's not like you're going to necessarily get his best effort in a very friendly, cordial, or pro-France team. You know what I mean? Like you're my understudy type of relationship thing. It doesn't seem like you're going to get that 60-70 tonight, but I do think there's a chance, as always. So I'm going to leave a little bit in, but I don't think it's a good idea to prioritize it, even though I like trying to get exposure to that game, because I think if it stays close, it could be really big on the Minnesota side, especially.
To bring up another value play, which you brought up earlier today. You ever give any more thought to Derrick Jones Jr.?
Yeah, I have him, but it's a plan to pivot play,
Okay.
But if I leave it, I leave it. You know what I mean? If that happens, but so often, like I mentioned the Rui example the other night, you're going to be able to change that kind of stuff.
Another one that I'm getting to now. You mentioned the Malik Monk, but I'm getting a bunch of Kevin Huerter.
Yeah, that's what I thought everyone would get, and I personally, I like Huerter in general. I think there's so many bus paths. I'd rather play Malik Monk so much lower. It's so much lower ownership.
Okay, that makes sense.
The 39 minutes he played the other night could be skewed, and I just won't write anything. But thanks, guys, for what you're saying. It's not my loss, but it's just sorry about that. Sorry about sharing everything. I guess it really is true DFS because I'm just said that as I was on there because I usually turn my phone off and I thought it was off. But anyway. Yeah, so I think so. Kennard is a question mark from James. I actually do like Kennard. I think not to pat myself on the back or pat us on the back, but we were talking about how Kennard was going to play way more minutes than he was being projected for with the situation they were in. Now Aldama's back, so Kennard is a really good play already, I think, or a really fine play already. But if Zaire Williams and John Concher are out, that just opens up minutes. So he becomes an even better play. So I like putting him in there again with the possibility of maybe pivoting if something else happens in Houston.
If Şengün plays, do you like Şengün?
Yes. but I'm a little worried that because it sounds more serious, so I'm tempering my expectations and playing more Van Vliet.
You getting any another value play? Any of Day'Ron Sharpe?
That's the one that I can see hitting. I don't understand why it's as popular. It's if you took all the days where everyone, I mean, it's weird because it's not even projected that well, but everybody's talked about it, and it feels weird to me. Like it doesn't make sense. It hasn't been right ever this year. He hasn't played like 20 minutes in a game, but is there a chance and maybe a blowout? But like then you're just projecting a blowout. And to me, if you're projecting a blowout, I think I want Dennis Smith Jr. in there. Like, there's my DSJ argument. You know what I mean? And not even in a blowout. Like we need someone else who can create. We cannot have Mikal Bridges against this defense try to be our only creator. Dennis Smith Jr. say a lot of things about him. He will attack. He will give you a chance. You know what I mean? And yeah, Day'Ron Sharpe can get there with other things. But I'm looking more at it like, who are they going to have to score? Because Dinwiddie is not a natural like scorer. He can handle the ball. Bridges is not a natural scorer. Like Dennis Smith Jr. is the most aggressive of any of these guys offensively. And I could just see a path where he ends up having that weird game. I'm probably going to have less of him than I do now. And I still have my time to decide before the 7:30 spot when that game starts. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to treat this like a must late swap slate. I don't have anything else going on tonight because I've been feeling a little under the weather. So I'm going to just be ready for all the late swapping opportunities outside of the Charlotte Washington game and outside of Embiid in one of my 4 big buy-ins.
Another value play that's showing up. You Theo Maledon?
Yes. Okay. It's so speculative. It's another one that I hope to switch off of. You know what I mean?
What do you think of?
I like Maledon, but like, and it's what it is it's protection against that game. Right? Like it's protection against your ownership of ball. Like if I'm going to play as much ball as I am, as much of that game, he is the reverse side of it. You know what I mean? Because if it doesn't go that way, or if there's some sort of a blowout, if they're down by 30 early and then he leads them back, that's possible. Like that is in the cards of possibilities because Rozier's out. If they really struggle. So if Washington's up like 20 early, Maledon becomes like an amazing play. And by the way, that is completely possible. Either one of these teams could be up 20 in the first 5 minutes, and it's not going to surprise me.
Right.
There is one betting lock of the night that I have that it wasn't on my original bets, but I don't see how the under doesn't hit in San Antonio. At least the San Antonio side of it. Like I hope but I just cannot see it. I'm really trying to see it, and I'm having trouble with it. So, and I still like the over even as high as it is with Washington and Charlotte. It wouldn't surprise me if it was finally one of those under games, but I just can't watch teams play like this and literally play poorly, and it's like, oh, they still have 75 points at the half. You know what I mean?
Right.
AD could be sneaky from Brendan. Yeah, AD is completely sneaky, and I think it's totally like legitimate. It's actually like a good matchup. He's a good play at 9,800. I think he's a really good tournament play. I didn't get to him in my first builds, but I might. And also, I think Christian Wood is a good tournament play.
Even if Davis plays.
Well, if Davis plays, okay, I'm sorry, not Christian Wood. Sorry, I might say Rui. I think Rui's an interesting tournament play.
Oh, okay.
Just on the fact that he was the only one who actually showed up last time out, and Darvin Ham sometimes does these weird substitutions early on. I think all the Lakers are really good tournament plays, but I think Davis is the only one that I'm probably considering really using. I do think Austin Reeves, it's a perfect bounce back like Austin Reeves game. But Tari Eason, I'm worried about the minutes. I have some of him. Probably a little bit less than the field, but I might end up with him in one big buy-in where I'm gambling on these, 8:00 games and the value that I mentioned. So if I hear after 7:00 that Zaire and Contra are out, maybe David Roddy ends up playing a ton of minutes. Maybe I put some of him in, you know what I mean? There's just other value that I'm probably going to shift off of. And I have, I mostly am going that one first game then very little of I have a little bit of the Dennis Smith Jr. stuff, and then I'm all 8 Eastern or later games. So that's the way I'm treating the slate outside of the Embiid with some of the Charlotte Washington stacks and DSJ.
What's his name? Kelly
I think
Olynyk.
Woods sucks too, by the way. I'm not saying Woods is good. He sucks, but he can have a game. Sorry, go ahead. Shoot.
Kelly Olynyk is 4,400 still on FanDuel.
He is in one of my 3 big buy-ins on DraftKings. I'm glad you mentioned him. I mentioned I like that game, and this might be a pivot. Like, if Kelly Olynyk, even in 21 minutes or whatever he played the other night in the game, they kind of got blown out a little bit, and he had 5 fouls. Even if he played, let's say he played 24 minutes and had like 28 fantasy points, don't you think that he would be like a consideration for people? I don't think anyone's thinking about him, and I think on FanDuel maybe I guess they will. But on DraftKings, like I'm gonna play him in one of my lineups over Biyombo. Think about it. Think about literally this exact same ownership 2 days ago was flipped by like 100 times, and because of a 1 game sample size, we're gonna completely flip it right back. Like it doesn't make sense. You just have to play the long game. Kelly Olynyk gets hot. Like they need him. They're gonna need him to score. He's also a really good matchup for Beyond. Like if they use him at center. I mean, and by the way, it's not even impossible he doesn't start. Cheats. Maybe that's the information you don't know yet. You know, because Kelly Olynyk starting would look like he'd be the best play projected on the slate.
Right. The Memphis game I kind of like.
Yeah, I think you get the Memphis, Utah. I like the Houston side of it because I think that you're going to get players from there. I think there's a chance Şengün sits, and if not, I do like Şengün. It worries me because I think he'll be banged up, and you're playing a really strong guy, even if he's not a great defender. But I also like getting to some Jabari Smith. People are going to be afraid because of Tari Eason being back. I think Jabari Smith has insane upside, and I just don't think he's treated quite the way he should be. I think if he's under 6K, I'm always going to have interest. And we always used to complain about DraftKings pricing being too soft. Good job. Okay, that's all I can say. They've made it so hard to build, and I think it's a great thing. It is so hard to build lineups that you really like in basketball, and that's the way it should be. Because you don't have these, and partly we're also doing the injury information has been a little bit better. People have been playing a little bit more. So we don't have the 3K guys every night that we can just plug in. And when we do, they're highly volatile because teams are all trying to win right now. So it's like so far, even though I haven't won this last few days, I really like the way the season's going, even though other people keep complaining about it. Bad chalk keeps failing. You know what I mean? Chalk, even though I think is good sometimes, keeps failing. It's just all this value. Like Marcus Sasser just has one really bad night, and all of a sudden people, he ends up 15% on the slate. He probably should have been 75% on.
Right.
All right. Does this slate feel ugly? Yeah, it feels ugly. That's why I kind of like it. Eason or Tate? I like that question from Brendan. I think because of the ownership, depends on the rest of your lineup. The answer would be Tate for me if Şengün is out. Most likely because I think Eason is still going to be under some sort of a minutes limit. They didn't announce exactly what it was, but you could think somewhere it was 15 the first game. He played 14. I think I wouldn't expect more than 20 minutes from Eason. Now he can get there big time in 20 minutes, more than Tate, but Tate might end up playing 28 minutes or 30 minutes if Şengün is out. But I would wait for that information. I would just wait to see what happens because Şengün makes a big difference in that one. Because if Şengün's playing, it should be Eason because he'll get the minute. Like he's going to get as many minutes. Doesn't matter which way or not, But Tate, all of a sudden, minutes ceiling goes way up if Şengün is out.
Yeah, that Herder play feels like a lemon. I don't know.
Kaz is asking, is Zubac too much of a stretch against a fast Dallas team? Yeah, so they've done this. I've made a ton of money with and fading Zubac against Dallas throughout my life. Like, it's for whatever reason, when the Clippers and Dallas used to play, it was like a gold mine for me. You can't get anything on the Clippers side right now, but like, what the thing is, the thing I like about Zubac is he's going to be crazy low owned, and that they just don't have anyone quite with enough size. He's a monster of a human being. He's huge. I don't think people realize that about him. The speed of the game actually might be good for him because the way he's going to get there is rebounding and blocking shots. They're not going to be running offense through Zubac with those other 4 guys in the court. So I think he's in play because I think all the other centers around him are speculative. You know what I mean? Gafford played at 13 minutes in the game. I love him though because he would be the like 50% owned on this slate. I swear, if not for that one last game. I just don't think there's anybody to really like feel. I mean, look at the best point per dollar players are Bismack Biyombo, Keontae George, Kevin Huerter, Dan Gafford, and then Joel Embiid, who's going to be unowned. It's just like bizarro world, but he has to be because you can't find any value. I don't know, but I think my sense is that there will be value that one of Şengün or one of the other guys sit. At least one of them sitting in Memphis. I think maybe both. And they already lost what's his name for the day, too. So they would have 3 guys. It would be like close to 70 minutes. Maybe not 70, but like close, like 65, 70. That Memphis would need to make up in a great game environment at home, and they're playing like must-win mode. So Williams out, Concher in. I'd like to see what the projections rerun with that. I don't think it's as big a news to a lot of people until you look at Zaire Williams' minutes per game. The problem is Aldama's back. So to me, that's not going to do probably enough to make any other screaming value. But I think it improves everyone that you already might have liked, like Kennard boost.
Memphis has these guys though.
It's Kennard who gets the biggest boost.
Kennard, there's Marcus Smart, there's Jaren Jackson. Now there's Biyombo and Aldama and all this stuff. Not to mention Desmond Bane. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of guys that can do stuff. I don't know.
But the thing, what you're saying is because they don't have any of their normal guys, they just picked up Bismack Biyombo off the street, basically.
Right.
It sounds horrible to say like that, but like not saying they blindsided him. Thanks, Slick, whether that's to me or Sheets. Nice thing to say. All right, what else have we got here? Guys, please hit the like button. We appreciate it. And I'm going to probably be out of here in 8 minutes to finish listening and update everybody in the premium channel about what I'm going to be able to do.
Anthony Davis probable. I think that game is a bust. I don't think I'm playing anything from there.
Yeah, it feels undery to me as well too. On top of it, but it may not be. I don't even know if it's under. Like it's so hard to know. I don't know. I think I was right on when I just said I don't care whether they win this game or not. The Lakers just aren't very good, and yeah, they're going to get better. But I mean, LeBron's playing 39 minutes a game, or was playing 39 minutes a game until they got blown out the other night. That's nuts.
I don't quite get this Huerter thing.
It's because he had a good game and there's no De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I guess, but they got other guards.
And you know what I don't get is he was 0.0% owned. He didn't do anything special. He happened to play 39 minutes. That's I guess what was special.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think that.
Do you have any Keon Ellis in your builds?
No, I don't. But I ran across him a couple of times.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird one, right? Like the ultimate 150 play, the right 150 play is probably Davion Mitchell. But because he's going to be so low owned, Malik Monk is just play Malik Monk.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the guy had a 41% usage rate the last time we played. And look, they play fast there. Against OKC, OKC plays fast. They're playing at home. Light the beam. It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Monk right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to change though for people in a minute because I think that's going to change Kennard's projection, and I'm wondering if they'll project him to start.
Kennard? I'm getting him too.
Yeah, he's projecting.
Yeah, you know what? I like this whole thing better than the other one. This. I don't mind this at all.
Vassell is starting. Doesn't do anything for me. Thank you though, MJ. AD or LaMelo straight up. It's LaMelo for me, but that question has become a lot harder as the day has gone on. I think it's LaMelo though for me. I'm guessing you'd say LaMelo over AD.
Yeah.
Or better question: AD Poole or Gobert LaMelo? I think Gobert LaMelo is the clear correct answer. I think both AD and Poole, you'll have the only person with that lineup in the tournament, right?
If what?
It's 80 or in Poole or Gobert and LaMelo. I think Gobert and LaMelo is the right answer, and 80 and Poole, you can guarantee you'll have a unique lineup.
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
Yeah, but I think they're viable. Like it's what happens on it's a big slate, and there aren't that many really like great plays, which is really weird. Man, I wish that Milwaukee game was on tonight's slate.
The Milwaukee game?
Last night, just because I would have just automatically, and it's not that Halliburton went so nuts or anything, but I would have automatically played Giannis, and maybe some guy will have a monster game tonight and whatever. But like, there's nobody who screams of anything except for Embiid, which is like, if you had any value, and you may not have it by 7, maybe not enough, but Embiid is going to end up like 10% owned, and he could have easily been like 40% owned on the slate. Just
to answer your question, I just reran some stuff, and I'm getting a couple with the aforementioned Keon Ellis, whoever that is.
Yeah, it's weird what they're doing. I don't really it's just strange. Like he's very active, but he doesn't like. I don't know. It's just weird. Like there's too many. Why do they have to play so many guards? Why does Malik Monk have to play 29 minutes? In a close game. Why did he play 14 minutes the game before?
Yeah. Well, that game blew out, but even more to the point. I mean, they should have been in there.
They're trying to win. This is a team trying to, and they're being horrible. Like play your best players, let them play 35 minutes a game, and give yourself a chance. How they're only favored by 1.5, I don't even understand. And that it's changed by like 3 points today. They're 1.5 point underdogs. They were like, I think they were like 3.5 point underdogs at one point, though. It's actually going in their favor. All right. I have to run really quick to make a call before I finish editing my lineups. Is there anything else, Sheets, or should we just I'll pick it up?
No, we're good.
All right. Good luck, Sheets. Good luck, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Remember,